All right. Good afternoon, good evening, whenever you're watching this, ladies and gentlemen. It's amazing how AI works. They're like always on time. So that was my cue to tee this up and let's go. Susanna, how are you?
Good. How are you, Joe? Nice to see you
Uh,
again.
yeah, another day in paradise.
That's
Looks like
right.
you're a little bundled up today.
It's cold. It's cold everywhere in the country, isn't it?
Oh, looks like we have John today. All right. John is coming in. All right. Perfect, perfect. This is going to be fun and exciting. John, welcome, welcome. Glad you're here.
Welcome. Thank you. Appreciate that.
There he is.
There you go. There you go. So we're just officially getting started. We are recording for other people that might want to see this because they're at work or whatever. But welcome to the group mastermind call and anything, everything goes here. Susanna does have an agenda. I usually have an agenda. We always have something valuable to share. But let's start with your needs. Do you have any certain questions, any deals you're working on, anything like that?
Someone just pinged me today about a potential brand new ground up build on multifamily in the Detroit area in a tax zone. So I'm trying to decide what I want to do with that. So
Cool. Cool, cool. Off market, on market.
uh I believe this is on market, I think, but I'm not 100% sure yet. I just got like a text about an hour ago, and I haven't had a chance to dig into it yet. So,
That might be a perfect one to bring to the table if you're open. Remember, this is recording. So
right.
if you want it confidential, definitely don't share. We could always talk offline. But if it's something you want to bring to this training, of course, we could talk about it.
Do you have anyone in Michigan that does ground up?
Michigan, as far as a developer or builder?
A builder?
Okay, Michigan, Michigan. Let me check. I might. What's the zoning?
That I have to find out for you. So
I would
it's
start there, and if it's an on-market deal, sometimes these agents, brokers will have somewhat of an idea or a vision what would be the highest and best use. And so whenever you're looking at a development deal, um, they use that kind of terminology. And so I would write that part of your script. So whenever you talk to a broker or the seller is, hey, you know what? Do you have any reports? Do you have any feasibility studies? Do you have any environmental impact reports? Anything like that, that would help, whether it's the broker or the owner seller. And then the highest and best use, there's a reason for that, right?
yep,
Because you don't want to build something that there won't be a demand for, right?
correct.
So do you know how big it is? What's the acreage?
I do not. I Here's what I got. Hey, John, are you interested in land development for multifamily? I have a good site that has housing shortage and TIF financing available. So
So it's
that's what I'm working
multifamilies.
with.
So zone multifamily, so we know that.
So
And is this
other than
somebody
that,
you?
I don't know a whole lot. So
That's okay. That's okay. This is great. This is great coaching material. And so, is this somebody you really know, or just kind of an acquaintance?
this is a completely out of the blue. Somebody just texted me. So I'm not sure what's going on here yet. So
That's okay. This is part of the learning process. So, you're going to get these random ones, right? And sometimes they're very, very valid. Sometimes it's a daisy chain. I don't like daisy
yep,
chains, right? And so I would avoid that by all means. Um, there's also this is something that you might want to write down as well. Whenever I get like random texts and I may think it's legit or not, there's actually an app out there called Forewarn. Forewarn. Okay,
okay,
that's an amazing app because there's a lot on there. Sometimes there's stuff that you're going to question. I was working with a junk removal company one time, and I gave the person the benefit of the doubt, and stuff was on there that I didn't like, and here I am making
Hmm.
introductions to the really good people I know, like, and trust. And this person, unfortunately, had a long history, let's just say.
Yeah, fly by night, absolutely. Yep.
Yeah, yeah,
Is it
yeah.
mostly for contractors, Joe?
No, this is for anybody, everybody. I mean, you'll even have past history on properties and lawsuits and bankruptcies and divorces and um, there is a certain criteria I think you have to meet before even qualifying for that. But I love forewarn because then for me it's a time saver. Am I going to commit to going down this rabbit hole, find out about this property, start working with this guy, give him a wholesale fee or whatever he wants, to later find out I wasted a lot of time. So I would probably put that in your back pocket. There's other ones out there, LexisNexis. So when you start playing this big boy game, big girl game, you really want to know who the players are, right?
Yep.
Because there's a lot of also Ponzi schemes. And Ponzi schemes, in this world is very popular, unfortunately. And this being a development deal, again, find out on market, off market, and then find out like where exactly the address. Because we could also figure out density. Because if you're
Yep.
looking at multifamily, I would like to go as high up as possible to get maximize your development ROI. Because if you're restricted because next door somebody already, kind of said, hey, you can't build up because you're going to be blocking my view, you got to know about those things too.
Yep. Makes sense.
Go for it, Susanna. I threw in a lot there.
Yeah. I mean I don't recommend construction to start out with just because there's so many moving parts. It's I think a lot
And
easier.
it's such a long
It's a long
operation.
process before, yeah.
Yep.
And like nobody gets paid until it's done, right? Other than obviously the people who work on it. So it can be a very profitable business, but usually the people who are in it, it takes a while to get enough experience under your belt to
Yeah,
That's what I was a I was
I've
a little
been
worried
in.
about that too.
Yeah, Susanna is exactly right. I mean, I've been involved pretty closely as a broker, uh, more of a participant in that regard and raising capital. And in California, there was a small development. Somebody found raw dirt, um, rezone it to multi, split up the parcels. And one of my investor friends said, I'm not going to touch that deal. It might take years. And he was so right. I mean,
Yep.
it was a small deal, but unfortunately, the developer that went into that deal, he thought he was going to sell it for 1.6 per home. I said 1.1 all day, every day. He didn't listen to me. And unfortunately, he lost over $1 million on that one development deal. So, yeah, developments are a little bit tricky. On the flip side, that same developer went to Missouri and with the same business model, he was flipping them out like pancakes. So
Hmm.
so you want to also know about the state, city, kind of how they do business, how they operate, because
Well,
unfortunately in California there very lot of red tape.
you're in Detroit. Here you go. Here's my hand. You know, sorry, but that's the reputation of my town right there. Here's my hand. Now fill it. And then we'll
Yeah.
get some things done.
Yeah.
That's and
John, were
I
you able to look at as far as like looking at deals, were you able to watch that video on the analyzer, on the deal analyzer, since we're
I
talking
have
about
not had a
multi?
chance to go through that yet. That's this week's project.
Good. Good. Perfect. So Susanna, did you want to continue on a deal with the deal analyzer today or
Yeah, because we didn't really. I mean, we kind of had a high level overview, but we didn't get to really get into some of the details of the underwriting.
Okay.
So I can share my screen and that way are you gonna allow me to share, Joe?
Yeah, you're all set.
Okay.
How's everything else going aside from that, John?
Everything's great.
Good. Good, good, good.
A
What I
nice, a
would
nice time with family was really wonderful.
good. Were you in town or out of town?
I was out of town. I was at in DC, so
Oh, nice.
and it sure was nice to get there on a Wednesday. Well, actually, I got there Tuesday, and then Wednesday was 67 degrees. Gorgeous day. We went to Arlington National Cemetery, and then the rest of it was in the 40s or less. So, it was a little chilly the rest of the time, but it sure beat coming back to 3 inches of snow in my driveway. So,
Any day, right?
exactly.
Yeah.
So, can you see my screen, John?
I can.
Okay, so I went through just a overview of this so that everybody knows how to use it. So, since you brought up multifamily, so this starts out as multifamily, but you can obviously, change it to however. But so you've got all these tabs under here, the underwriting, the assumption, your return on investment, return on capital, the distribution waterfall,
Yep.
and the loan calculator. So here you put in your income, right? So let's say on this particular multifamily, you got half ones, half twos. So everything that's blue is changeable. If you change anything other than what's blue, you're going to mess with all of these formulas that basically
Yep.
flow through all of these tabs on the bottom. So you put in your average, your average T12, right? So from the existing um, profit and loss statement. So T12 is your trailing 12. So go back
Yep.
12 months. Here's your average. And so if we're looking at, any kind of a deal that has an upside, then we're looking at something hopefully that where the rents are not up to market. So then you put your market rents up here, right? In column J, your pro forma
Yep.
rent, and see the increase there from 1440 to
Yep.
1495,
Yep.
right? So that's not a big bump. But that's when you're looking at deals, you have to be able to look at, good, bad, and everything in
Absolutely.
between. So here's your T12. Then on the bottom part of this, where you're putting in your expenses, this is directly from the P&L. So you put this in, this is your total operating expenses and then operating income. And your next column is going to be your 1 year pro forma, which takes the rents that you had
And
actually
rolls it out.
entered, right? So based on your highest
Yep.
comps. So that should then result in an increase of your net operating income. However, here we're at a slight decrease because we also adjusted some of these expenses. Because sometimes you'll see these P&Ls where the expenses are really light. So on a pro forma basis, you know what they should be. So because we didn't have a big enough rent bump, when we brought it up to market and then we adjusted some of these expenses, our NOI actually went slightly down. So here on these subsequent ones, you're just using a 3% rent bumps, assuming that,
Yep.
right, there isn't anything else. So down on the bottom, it does, here's your cap rate calculation that does it automatically. So just looking at this deal, unless the pro forma numbers are better, I'm not really seeing anything, any upside other than, just buy and hold. I mean, you can buy anything if you, hold it
Right.
long enough, right? You're probably gonna see an increase. But so let's just here we can play with either a price reduction, right, over here.
Yep.
So this purchase price 4.9, blah, 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 1.75. Or we can play with, so we'd have to increase the rents to I don't know, let's say 1600 on the ones and let's just say 1750 on the twos. So see
which
what
is a
that
not,
does
which
now.
is a that's a fairly big jump though too.
Yeah. So this was actually a real deal that I was looking at with one of our clients. And when it comes to especially multifamily, like being too conservative is never going to work because no deal is so good where you could be conservative on expenses and also conservative on your projected rent and conservative, like it's just not going to pencil, right?
Right.
So we actually do have comps. This was a somewhat an unusual property. So we do have comps on at these numbers, but it's just not the average comp, right? So, but I just want to show you how that would work. So these are still real rents that I'm putting into the pro forma. It's just not the average rents for the neighborhood. So you could make the argument that if you upgrade the property to be closer to the highest rents in the neighborhood, you could get there. But again, that's a risk assessment. That's a different discussion. Right now, we're just looking at the financials and how they flow through. So here, purchase price per unit, your loan to value, 65%, 5-year term, and an interest rate of around 5.7. So that now flows through to your assumption. Again, purchase price 4.9. Here's
Yep.
your down payment at 35%. So if you were buying this by yourself, right, then you wouldn't get an acquisition fee or a guarantor fee because you'd be responsible for the entire total equity capital required to purchase it. And then you also wouldn't need this breakdown between limited partners and general partners. But if you were going to use general partners and limited partners, you could split this up 90-10, 95-5. So I don't honestly have anybody right now that's able to acquire properties without having to put some of the capital in, but 5% is super doable. Every now and then lenders will go like, okay, we'll bring that up to 10. And then if you had a capital expenditure budget, then you would put that in here. So then you go to your return analysis and it basically starts at year one. So, right? So when are you going to exit this property? Like what would you actually be making? So year one, here's your, um, you have to assign it a value. Like what's the cap rate at exit, right? So here we're using a 5.75, but you can easily adjust this to, like, I don't know, in Detroit, your cap rates are much higher. So you would adjust it to whatever it is, like 6 or 7 or, um, right? So then minus your
Yep.
commissions, your loan balance, your initial investment, because you have to return the capital, and then here's your profit. And then your ROI calculation. Now, these are gross. I know these numbers look like crazy, but these are gross. When you go over here to the distribution waterfall, if you look down here where it gives you your internal rate of return calculation, here's for limited partner and here's for general partner. See, it's only, and I'm saying only because it's still a great return at 22% IRR, but it's
Absolutely.
not right. But it's so yeah, your ROI numbers are going to be different when you take into consideration the time value, right? The IRR, and here's your equity multiple. Does that make sense?
Makes sense.
So now you know how to use the spreadsheet, right? So
Of course.
John, so I had this conversation last week with another member that we're working with, and remember the foundation that we have to build, and this is going to be pretty easy for you.
Oh
But
yes.
we want to start looking at um different deals and answering those questions, the 6 questions that we have to understand on every deal. So what property type do you want to start with?
I'm looking for multifamily, obviously, and 100 units plus is what I'm thinking.
100 plus?
Yep.
Okay. Were you able to? look at anything so far that we can look into here?
I have not found anything we can look into yet, but I should have something definitely for next week.
Any specific geographic area?
Looking in Southeast Michigan.
So, Southeast
Southeast
Michigan.
Michigan. So basically, I'm trying to stay between anything from Lansing back to Detroit and anything typically south from Lansing down. So anything basically within an hour of me is kind of the area I'm looking within, which I think is reasonable.
Within an hour.
Correct. Driving distance.
So what's around, what's the big employment metro areas there?
Well, we've got a number of hospitals. You've got, of course, Ford, GM, Stellantis, so our automotives, a lot of logistics companies because of automotive. Um, we've got DTE, it's our provider, consumers. DTE does electricity. Consumers basically does gas. Let's see, what are my other large? Well, I've got Michigan, Michigan State, Wayne State, universities. So
Can
I
you
have some
help
fairly
him?
large employers.
Okay, and give me that geographic area again.
Basically Southeast Michigan.
Have you been able to look on CREIC or any of the, a lot of times, some of the bigger brokers that are doing the 100 plus units to have their own websites?
I've basically been looking on CREIC.
Okay, what's available there?
Oh, there's a couple things there. We can go to CREIC if you want. I would do Metro Detroit instead of Lansing, but because see where you kind of, if you look at where Lansing's at, it's basically kind of the middle of the state, and that gives you everything east of Lansing and then south of Lansing goes down to basically Ohio. And anything within that location I can get to roughly within an hour and a half.
Okay, let's take a look. What's available on CREIC? Let's take a look at some of those deals. You want to pull them up, John?
Okay. Let me quick share my screen here. Let me get over and share.
John, are you going to be available on Thursday?
What time on Thursday?
For the business planning?
I'm gonna be able to make some of that, but I will not be able to make the full thing.
Crexy's actually going to be speaking.
Oh,
Yeah, so if you could squeeze in there, I would say try to block out around 11:30 Pacific. I think that would be probably 1:30 your time, maybe. Yeah, and I'm not sure exactly what time they'll be speaking because there's two guest speakers. But I would block out 1:30 till about 2:30. They're probably gonna share a couple things that give you more tips and tricks around Crexy.
okay.
Okay. And I'll be speaking in the beginning, just mainly on business planning, strategizing some goals for the coming year.
My niece has a hockey game at 4, so yeah. She's
Okay.
a senior year of her high school, and she's one of the
Nice.
captains. So I definitely want to be there.
Wow. Awesome.
It is
Awesome.
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 All right, let me have
Um,
share my screen, please.
yeah, I think you should be able to.
There it goes. All right. Commercial real estate. How about that?
There we go. Do you have the paid version or the free version?
I do have the paid version.
Oh, good job. All right. Good, good, good.
Come on, where am I? Want? All right, let's go here. Although this is not really what I want, but oh, I know what I want to do. We're going to do this. We're going to do Michigan. Come on. And
All
let's go
right.
to the filters. Uh, Class C. All right. I only want to do multifamily. Where'd you go? There you are.
It's good. You're proficient on how to use this thing. So
This one I would love to get. It's 946 units, but I got to find some deep pockets.
let's click that real quick. When
This
it's
has been on the market
unpriced,
forever, and it's
it's
unpriced.
when they have that
It's un
unpriced, that's when you know you got to be very, very diligent in knowing that market very well because you never want to overpay.
you know,
So so yeah, they don't have a price. And then like you said, God,
and it's been on the
911
market for
days.
11 days.
That's a long time. Do you know
Yes,
what's
it.
wrong with what's wrong with that? Why it's not selling?
Well, I talked to someone, and he basically said, "You better watch out for lead paint because it's was built in the '60s." So I went, "Oh," but I have not talked to the broker yet about this one.
John, but
So
this is
I,
not one property. It says apartment portfolio. So it's
yeah,
multiple properties. Do you see that?
On the
this
left
is
corner on
building
the
one, building two.
it's a package deal, looks like.
So where's the other ones? This one's got 208, 176.
Yeah, that doesn't make sense. I thought you said it was over 900 units.
That's what it says here.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
there's probably some other, but it's a portfolio for sure. I'm
Okay.
honestly not aware. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Let's
So
go
it
back to
probably
Craigslist.
doesn't include all of them.
All right. Let's go back to Craigslist for a second here. All right. This one I think is about to come off market. Uh, this one for 479 units. And where's the other ones?
Click on that first one. That's 130.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that one looks interesting.
All right.
This is Detroit proper. Okay.
So it's 21 days on the market.
130 units. Oh, it gives you the NOI. Okay, so 634. So what's the max loan amount, John?
634. And then you divide that by 1061. And hang on, let me go do my calculator because I should be waking up to do that off my top of my head, but I am not currently. So, all right,
I can't do it in my head either.
634,
Don't worry.
216 divided by 10.61. Uh, what did I do wrong here? Hang on, clear this out. 634,316 divided by 0.1061. All right. 5,978,473 and 14 cents.
That is correct.
And so that's why they're saying 5,980,
Hmm.
built in 65,
Look at
55.
this cap rate, 10.6%. Joe, look at that. Oh my gosh.
Yep.
Right.
Only in the Midwest.
Like you said.
Oh, don't you love it though? What's the occupancy in this geographic area, John? Is it pretty good?
Um, let's see here. Give me hang on, let's view the flyer for a second. I doubt this one's 76 one bedroom, one bath, 54 two bedroom, one bath. Let's go to details. Come on. Okay, so you're seeing 93% occupied.
So expenses are 660 into about 1.3. So what's that expense ratio divided by?
50,
Yeah.
roughly 50%.
Mm-hmm. Wow, those property taxes, 160. Insurance, 90.
Why are the bank fees $1,404?
I mean, it has good occupancy, right?
Seems that way. At least that's what they're stating.
Go, if you scroll over to the rents, so average price per square foot, yeah, about $1.30, $1.15.
The other thing that I want to also, just for whoever's watching the recording, um, including you, John, of course. So I went into Detroit, Michigan population, just did a quick Google search. This is interesting. Detroit is currently growing after decades of population decline. According to the U.S. Census Bureau, the city has seen consecutive population increases in 2023 and 2024, which grow with growth attributed to factors like new housing, revitalized neighborhoods, and a strategy to welcome immigrants. Um, that's good. That's actually good that we're seeing an increase versus a decline.
Mm-hmm. Correct.
So, yeah, so far I'm seeing a lot of potential here, John. What else do you see?
Um, I don't see anything that's really 216 is not out of the realm since you've got a property from 1955. Um, Internet services, I'm a little surprised we're providing those, but it's
It's not that
37 bucks a
uncommon
unit.
anymore. I'm seeing that in quite a few
Okay.
multifamily projects. Yeah.
I guess the water's actually cheap. And of course, we in the suburbs get to subsidize the city, but let's not go there. Sorry. Personal beef there. Oh,
Okay, so let me share something else. I did a quick search again, typing in the address, and this is what I also like. Whenever you see something like this, you always want to turn lemons into lemonades. If you
yep.
just simply type the address, it comes up with Dolphin Gardens. Dolphin Gardens doesn't have a great social presence. It has one Google review and it's negative. And so there also is a potential value add. So when you see there's a, for me, another checkbox, or
Yep.
this is getting more and more intriguing.
Interesting.
Yep. Yep. So keep going, John. Keep going with this one.
Okay.
What else?
Um, I'm a little worried about the late fee income.
Okay.
Um, and I can't really say there's anything else that's popping out at me.
So what I would say is if you could go back into the main page, the summary, get out of
Okay.
the attachment, and let's look
All
at the
right.
description and a few other things that might be attached. Okay, so
All
let's go
right.
here. Hang on a second. Yeah, view OM, view flyer. Let's see.
We were in the flyer, so
The late
Uh,
fee income is less than 2% of the rent.
so you're telling me I shouldn't be that worried about that.
Mm.
Okay.
yeah, so scroll down all the way back to financials. And this is
Well, the
very
OM and the
typical of
flyer are the same thing.
okay, yeah, it looks like it. All right, so what I would do if I were you, get the actuals. Get the actuals, see if you could get the P&Ls for the last
Okay.
whatever you can get. You know, if you could get 3 years, great. 12 months, great. This is all part of your preliminary.
Yep.
Um, but so far, what I've seen just on a quick research, it definitely looks interesting and intriguing. I would find out motivation. Do you know why they're selling? That's what
Okay.
I would figure out right away. Like, hey, why are they selling? Is this a part of a 1031 exchange? Or why are they selling? You know, and with that, you could probably find out, like, I like to listen out for a potential seller carry if there is. If it's a 1031, seller carrybacks out. Um, but if you see to hear something like, hey, owner's retiring, I kind of
Okay.
like that. If they're not wanting a 1031 and they're retiring, man, I'm like, okay, seller carry is a very strong potential. I wouldn't say that to the broker because sometimes they'll
Right.
think he doesn't have any
I'm
money.
not getting paid then.
Yeah, yeah.
Yep.
So you got to be careful how you structure that, but you
Why
want to
wouldn't they
like
get paid? They still get their commission on a seller carry, do they not?
they do. But I was thinking more like, hey, does this buyer qualify? Does he have money?
Right,
Is
right,
this
right.
buyer going to take it to the finish line? Or is this a time waster?
Yeah. What's the
Okay.
cash flow that this thing throws off? It must be quite strong at 10%
Yeah, go
cap
back
rate.
to the financials. All right, right there. And let's there we go. 634. Not
So
bad.
what's your take home gonna be?
John.
My take home should be 634, joke, joke.
Well, no, from there you still you have a loan on this thing,
Well,
right? Whether
yes,
it's a sell a
correct.
carry or a finance, right? What's your debt
I like how
service?
you
Yep.
think though, John.
So if we're, this is what, five? Hang on here. Let's go back for just a second.
That's a very good question. I'm glad we're recording because this is really great material for anybody,
So
everybody watching.
let's just do that. Let's just do this in easy numbers. Let's do 6 mil. So multiply that by 0.7. So I got a 4.2. I'm going to carry a loan of roughly 4.2. And then I'm going to be paying that loan probably 7%.
No, well, you'll be in the sixes. I do 6.5. I don't
Okay.
know specifically for that area, but I just priced something out this morning. It was in California, but I was at 5.7.
That's 273 and 6. So that's what, 327.
I think you can get up to 4.5 in loan amount just because it's a 10 cap, right? You're not going to be a debt service coverage restriction. So, even at 6% on a 30-year AM, your payment is 27,000 a month. So times 12, 324, and your cash flow is 660. So this thing is going to put 336,000 into somebody's pocket per year.
Okay.
Susanna, if you could explain maybe, because we are recording, how you came up to that number for somebody that might be watching the playback.
Oh, so I mean, you figure out in a loan payment calculator, right? Well, first of all, let's start with the debt service coverage ratio. So you need to be at a minimum of 1.2. What that means is your net operating income has to be 1.2 times your payments. And you can do that either annually or monthly as long as, you're keeping it consistent. So based on that, and I went all the way up to 75% loan to value. At a 10% cap rate, I mean, your loan is going to be less than 7, so you're going to get your max leverage. I plugged in a 6% or 6.5. I don't remember. It's going to
Six and a
be
half.
somewhere around there. It depends on the area, right? But Detroit is a major metropolitan, so I don't see any restrictions there. So at 6%, your payment is 26,979 times 12, or you could do it monthly. So I just rounded it up. Like John says, easy numbers, right, John?
Absolutely.
27 times 12 is 324. And so what you're looking at on the screen, the net operating income is, oh, sorry, I used the wrong number. Net operating income is 634,000 minus 324,000, which is your payments.
So that's uh 310.
Uh-huh, exactly.
What do you think, John?
Sounds good to me.
Yeah, not a bad living.
Exactly.
Not a bad living. That's one deal.
That's
One
not
deal.
counting the tax incentive. So what's the cash on cash return? Okay, so we have 310,000. And we put down on a 6 million, we put down 25%, so we put down 1.5, and we're getting 310 divided by 1.5. 20? It's over 20%, Joe.
Be putting an LOI, John, or yeah.
All right,
Yeah,
guys, do we have a NLOI template that I can use?
absolutely. Absolutely. I could email it over to you. Yeah, I'd put it together and quite frankly, those are pretty easy to find even online, right? You could just Google letter
Yeah,
of
but I don't want
intent.
something online that I don't know whether it works. I want something
Yeah.
that That's, kind of why I'm working with you guys to make sure that I'm using an LOI that actually works and, it's not going to get me in
Absolutely.
trouble.
Absolutely. Do you have an entity?
I do not have an entity yet. That's
Don't
Okay.
worry about entity. Half the time we put the entity together, once the financing process starts. But John, what do you know about that particular area of Detroit? What is there
I do not
something?
know a lot about it yet, but
Hmm.
let's do this. Come on. And this is 12,850. So this is our golfing gardens. This is Outer Drive. So this is right off the expressway. And that is 96. Okay, so this is Rouge Park.
Also,
This
Joe,
is
does CREIC provide you with information on how long that particular owner has owned it and what the debt level is, the current leverage?
No,
I think that would, no? CoStar
no.
does that though, right?
I haven't used
CREIC
CoStar in a
doesn't?
while.
I think CREIC probably does too.
I know. Well, let's go into this for just a second. This is the paid version. It was renovated in 2024.
Okay, so date listed November, property time. Hmm. Property history, maybe under property history.
All right. So this goes back to demographics. This isn't telling me what you're asking for.
So under property history, all it does is tell you when it was listed.
Yep.
Okay. Well, we get to ask that question on Thursday, Joe, right? You got Crixie coming into your presentation.
Exactly. Absolutely.
And then there's give you some similar properties.
Interesting.
Trying to think of,
A 20% cash on cash return.
and you have where'd that go? Detroit Diesel is a fairly good sized employer too.
So, what are we not seeing about this deal?
What we're not seeing is how good the neighborhood is.
Wonder if they have any collection issues since they did. I mean, that late fee income, I wouldn't be all that worried about, but depending on, what the collections are, but 93% occupancy, 10% cap rate. So what are the cap rates around Detroit? I know they're much higher than what we're used to, but what are they on average?
They're probably 8 to 10 because there are some parts of Detroit that, like this is around the golf course, and so it's got a public golf course which is Rouge, and it's a little of the nicer area. And then you have other areas of Detroit that, really need some help.
Wow, apparently the average is about 12%.
Let me get out of this, because that's not the property I want. What is that other website? Crime. What's the crime website? And this is Wayne County. So now we get on to Wayne. If you don't know counties in Michigan, go down to Wayne. All right. So good old Wayne right here. So, oh, this is useless because I can't bring the top down. Population, violent crime, murder, rape, robbery, assault. So back to Wayne. So you got 120 for a population of 16,816. So, but that's overall of all Wayne County, and all Wayne County is pretty huge. So, and you're kind of at, with this property, you're kind of on the outskirts of going from um Wayne County and starting to get into and bumping up against Oakland County. Let me do this. Let's do a
So
county
are the
map.
cap rates as low in Lansing, or is that
Uh,
different from?
Lansing's kind of fairly similar. I want something
John, what's your
easier.
email?
Jay Nordbeck at Comcast.net.
There you are. Perfect. I'm going to send you the LOI sample right now.
Thank you.
And yeah, you're welcome. And yeah, have at it. Okay.
So, John, what has the appreciation been like? And I know that Detroit has had a pretty volatile kind of a history, especially the last few years with the automobile industry kind of, ups and downs. But
Correct.
that is a really good cash flow for investors.
Basically is Detroit's coming or turning around. You've got a lot of downtown development. We just did our newest building that General Motors is now moving into from they bought the Rensen years ago, and now they're moving out of the Rensen into what's new called the New Hudson building, which is the latest development. We just it's finishing in 2026, I believe it is. And GM's going to move into that. So there has been a huge revitalization in downtown Detroit, and it's starting to spread a little bit into the neighborhoods. But it's still got a long way to go before it really gets fully into the neighborhoods.
Mm-hmm.
But there are certain neighborhoods that are doing well, especially like within downtown Detroit. You've got like Midtown that's over by Wayne State University that really seems to be doing quite nicely, but that's also where they patrol a lot too.
Interesting. I've not looked into that submarket, although there's quite a bit of I know of some investors that like that just because the single family has been so affordable over there over the last few years. There's quite a few investors that start with single family portfolios and build up from there.
Well, there's lots of single family in Detroit that, they used to buy them for $1, rip them down, and then take the bricks and then take them out to the suburbs and build their bars.
Oh my gosh.
And
Wow, but this
They
is
used to
such a good
they used to go
exercise in
buy
kind
them
of
for, $1, and, it
yeah,
was,
this one
crazy.
looks interesting. It really does, John. I would put together that LOI,
Okay.
um, get it going and see what happens. And maybe we could probably have something back by next week or in between there. And yeah, this definitely sounds like something I would at least throw an LOI at and see what happens.
look at some other ones in the area also, John, and see how they compare.
Okay.
And if you could reply back, John, I wanted to get your mailing address. So if you
Okay.
could reply back to that email, that'd be awesome.
No problem.
Yes, sir. Good stuff. Great job, John. That was a quick and easy look at Crexy, and lo and behold, this one looks interesting.
Well, there was a couple other ones, and now they're gone, which is frustrating.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, people do buy
Yeah, I
properties.
know, but they were, for a while they were still listed up here, but
And
maybe I have
remember this, John. Remember
maybe I
this.
have
This
too
is
many filters on, which might be a possibility.
I want you to remember this really good takeaway for today as well. Whenever you see a great deal, you cannot steal in slow motion.
Good point.
If
Good
it's
point.
if it's a deal, move fast, move very, very fast.
But maybe in the OM they will have some comps too that you can take a look at, John, just to kind of
Okay.
compare, see what those cap rates are, see what their rents are at. Um, and then look at some other ones that are on the market in that area.
Okay. This is-
All right.
Great job. Great job, John. So we will catch up again next week. Hopefully you're on and available as well. And then I'll see you on Thursday. Hop on there. You're going
Absolutely.
Zooms, so the you know how to use Zoom. And
Yep.
Suzanne, any closing words?
What time is it on Thursday, Joe? I think I got it on my
10
calendar, but let's
a.m.
just
So it'll
repeat
be
it for everybody.
11 to you, 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. Pacific.
Uh-huh.
And yeah, it'll be 5 hours. So there's going to be a working lunch. That's when Crexy will be speaking during the lunch, and also a mail house company, because you definitely want to start putting mailers out there as well. So you're not just relying on phone calls, you're doing seller outreach with direct mail.
Let me just confirm that I have it. One sec. This is on Thursday.
Yep.
Yeah. I'll put the link actually in the chat in case
Yeah, it's on my calendar. I got it.
you got it. Okay, how
Yep.
about you, John? You got the information?
I do.
Perfect. All right, beautiful. Have a
Okay.
great,
We'll
great
see
day.
everybody on Thursday.
Guys, thank you
Sounds
guys
good.
very,
Take
very
care.
much.
Thanks,
All
guys.
right. Take care.
Bye.
Bye bye.
You too. Bye-bye.